In 1979, Wrangell, Alaska, was home to an unusual event involving a man named Carl. After a day of work, he was heading home in his truck when he witnessed a shocking sight. His companion's truck in front of his was inexplicably lifted off the ground, which fell onto his vehicle. Investigating the situation, he saw a UFO soaring above him. Attempting to escape, he fled into the wilderness. In the process, a beam from the UFO subjugated him, lifting him off the surface whilst immobilizing his body. Fast forward to the present day, a young individual called Isaac Cypress works in a NASA jet propulsion laboratory. He and his mate Beck indulge themselves in a fun game in which Beck utilizes NASA satellites to transmit a signal which Isaac then locates. Despite easily spotting a rogue signal, Beck denies it's the one he sent. An unknown source somewhere in Canada, intriguingly, is revealed to be its origin. As a lark, Isaac replicates the signal, transmitting it for Beck to locate at a later point. One evening, while diligently working, Isaac's computer receives an enigma, a transmission from an unidentified extraterrestrial source consisting of random coding. Eager curiosity is incited in Isaac about it. Concurrently, his therapist advises him to maintain a video diary, a notion he deeply embraces as he now brings along his camera everywhere. During one particular diary session after a hike, the serenity is disrupted by a crashing meteor just meters from where Isaac is seated. Distress sirens blare in the background, and fighter jets hover above. Isaac deduces that the area is about to be cordoned off by authorities. Trying to remain undetected, he covertly heads towards the meteor's crash site, where he encounters a UFO. Unseen, he attempts to document the UFO, but it inexplicably disappears. A sudden turn reveals a chilling sight, an alien entity standing behind him. Carefully, he manages to get the encounter on tape. The entity stares at him briefly before departing. Panicked, Isaac dashes off but loses consciousness halfway through. 3 days later, Isaac wakes up disoriented, miles away from the previous location. Checking his device, he realizes the footage of both the alien and himself being elevated off the ground is still preserved. A peculiar marking is sighted on his arm. Deep in thought, Isaac arrives home and sits on his bed, contemplating. He glances at his arm, and the question of the visitor's intentions remains unresolved. Isaac finds himself in a peculiar situation where things vanish into thin air right before his eyes. He reaches out to where a television he was watching was located only a moment ago, his hand encountering an unseeable boundary, as though it leads to another realm. He briefly focuses on that spot, and the television reappears, leading him to come to the conclusion that he himself is the catalyst for the object's disappearance. To confirm, he repeats this odd phenomenon using his camera this time. Confronted with some oddities in his arm, he visits a doctor that x-rays his arm to discover a fracture. Remarkably, the fracture runs perfectly straight, nearly as though his bone was sliced by a knife rather than broken. At his workplace, Isaac demonstrates this strange ability to Beck, his colleague. Isaac shows that he can make items vanish, apparently, into different dimensions. Regrettably, only Isaac can observe the relocated items. Beck cannot. Isaac shares footage of an alien with Beck, leaving him in shock, although Beck advises against sharing it with another co-worker. Visibly irritated, Isaac goes home and decides to upload the footage labeled alien abduction footage to an online platform. He is awakened the next morning by a call from a news anchor expressing interest in the video that has already attracted nearly 1 million views. Checking the comments, Isaac realizes that the views about the authenticity of the video are divided, with some viewers believing it to be a hoax. Throughout the day, he is bombarded with interview requests from various news outlets and magazines. He finally agrees to one interview. In the interview, he shares the footage and recounts the entire abduction story. Despite his intention to disseminate the truth, Isaac is ridiculed by the presenter. Isaac's story gains momentum in the media, provoking an array of reactions, with some standing by his claims while others disregard his incident as a deceptive attempt to gain attention. As immediate reactions cooled down, an increasing number of people began to believe Isaac was making up the entire saga. Despite this, Isaac starts investigating other abduction stories online. He discovers that his account bears a striking resemblance to several others. One story in particular, that of a girl named Sarah, captures Isaac's attention, and he decides to meet her. Upon their meeting, Isaac informs Sarah that these alien encounters have been a part of Earth's history for a considerable amount of time. He cites evidence from historical paintings featuring aliens and anecdotes from several scientists who reportedly received unexplained space signals. Their conversation leads Sarah to question Isaac about a specific alien abduction incident. In 1979, Wrangell, Alaska, a man named Isaac responded that he wasn't aware that a chap named Carl had been kidnapped. Carl had disappeared after publicly declaring his abduction. Isaac chose to circulate his recordings regarding the incident on online platforms, encouraging the reporting of such encounters. Whilst depositing this information in the post box, he was approached by a gentleman named Keith, who claimed to be a writer. Keith expressed his disapproval of the negative media attention Isaac was receiving, indicating a desire to write a piece, providing Isaac's perspective in depth. After a night's worth of consideration, Isaac agreed to Keith's proposition. Upon arriving at Keith's workspace, Keith proposed the idea of a polygraph test to establish the validity of Isaac's claim. Isaac had no objections, and Keith tutored him on utilizing the lie detector apparatus. Isaac relayed his story via a series of responses, none of which indicated dishonesty, which caused Keith to seem perturbed. Keith excused himself without offering any reasons. And when Isaac trailed after him, he witnessed two individuals who resembled agents advancing down the passage. Attempts at avoiding them failed as they fired at Isaac, causing him to lose consciousness. Upon regaining lucidity, Isaac discovered himself being transported by a pair of androids into a stark, white chamber where he was secured to a chair. Outside, he glimpsed Sarah being taken away at this mysterious facility. Through a monitor, Keith, revealing himself to be Agent Graves, greeted Isaac. He informed Isaac that they intended to test his reaction to various items brought before him, but Isaac remained unresponsive. Eventually, Isaac ceased to cooperate, demanding information on his and Sarah's whereabouts. Agent Graves inquired about Carl's whereabouts, to which Isaac deceitfully declared ignorance. Isaac then successfully freed himself from his chair, overcoming the androids, and managed to escape. In his haste, he observed Sarah enclosed in another chamber, which he managed to unlock solely with his mental strength. As they eluded the androids firing at them, they discovered their location, Costa Rica. Agent Graves ordered his agents to tail them in hopes that they would lead them to Carl. Isaac resolved to find Carl by accessing the internet if possible. A local woman at a diner guided them towards a person named Zed, who could potentially assist them. In the vast network of the internet, a pair named Sarah and Isaac encounter Zed, a highly skilled hacker and technology aficionado. They are pursued by androids, forcing Zed to bring them to his secretive jungle home, equipped with an untraceable internet access. They learn that these androids are under the command of ISRP, the International Space Research Program, a covert agency. Despite his proficiency in hacking, Zed is unable to uncover Carl's existence either online or within governmental records. It is then that Isaac recalls an odd signal that he and Beck previously detected emanating from Canada. They infiltrate NASA's servers and trace the signal, which reveals Carl's location. Zed, utilizing a laptop in his house, initiates a video call with Carl. Initially, Carl dismisses it, but Zed gains access to Carl's computer. Immediately, Isaac recounts his abduction story, in order to prevent Carl from ending their call. Isaac tells him that he transmitted a copy of Carl's signal into space and received an answer on the same night. At Carl's request, Isaac forwards the response to him. Carl interprets the randomized code embedded in the response and translates it into an audible format. An extraterrestrial voice provides a date and location for their arrival. They are set to reach Carl's house in 5 days. Upon hearing this, Carl abruptly disconnects the video call. Isaac suggests traveling to Carl's house. Sarah is unsure, but Zed is eager to join and utilizes his connections in Costa Rica to arrange for a private plane to Canada. Unbeknownst to them, Graves had previously placed trackers in Sarah and Isaac and has been tracking their movements. After an arduous journey, Zed, Sarah, and Isaac finally reach Carl's residence. Although initially skeptical, Carl soon invites them into his home. He recounts his experiences of abduction and subsequent escape from ISRP. He's been in hiding for 20 years, dedicated to establishing a means to communicate with the aliens. He has tirelessly developed software to translate alien codes into human voice and vice versa. Now, he is ready to have a communication when the aliens arrive. While waiting for the aliens' advent, Sarah, Isaac, and Zed spent quality time together, exploring the surrounding woods and getting to know one another. Zed takes an interest in Carl's equipment. When the predetermined day arrives, Isaac senses the shifting ground, which Carl explains is due to the approaching aliens. True to this, Isaac ventures into the forest, spots the aliens, and promptly questions their intentions. Using Carl's translation gadget, everyone gathers around with extraterrestrials who reveal that they have fully mastered all areas of science, including medicine, physics, and technology. Now, their quest has expanded to seek out the origin of our universe. Isaac curiously queries why they are examining humans, to which they respond that a unique aura is discernible in humans. Isaac is then presented with an image of Jesus Christ by these beings, requesting to know who he is. The extraterrestrials express their interest in Jesus because they perceive a link between him and the universal origin, as well as the exclusive human aura. When Sarah asks about the mysterious marks on her and Isaac's arms, an alien exposes a device that effortlessly cuts open her arm to reveal a tracker. The aliens confess installing the trackers for their records. Isaac is informed that whereas in his realm, evidence is needed to believe, but after their scientific breakthroughs, they believe to see. Just then, Graves and his men confront Carl, demanding him to come out, a result of a personal grudge he holds against Carl. The grudge is because Carl was abducted in the same event where Graves' father went missing. Graves insists on knowing why his father was never recovered, but Carl has no explanation. Graves' men fire shots, injuring Carl and Sarah in the process. Encouraged by an alien, Isaac harnesses his senses and is able to teleport everyone to a different dimension for safety. Using their abilities, the aliens miraculously heal Carl and Sarah. They all manage to elude Graves and his men by leaving in the alien spaceship. 6 months post these events, Isaac and Sarah have commenced a peaceful existence on a distant island as a couple. Simultaneously, Zed and Carl establish a clandestine tech firm. Due to his illicit activities at Carl's house, Graves is dismissed from ISRP. Isaac routinely documents this journey through video logs. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this content, please take a moment to like our channel and subscribe. Additionally, feel free to share your movie preferences and we'll consider recapping your favorite for you.